In the spring of 2001, I found myself in Madrid, Spain, catching up on local films. Having bought a ticket at a multiplex for a Spanish title that I now forget, I witnessed an extraordinary thing. The trailer for Amores, Perros, a Mexican feature by first-time director Alejandro González Iñárritu. This had recently won a prize at the Cannes Festival in 2000 and was not yet released in the UK or USA. I was disturbed and dazzled by the trailer. Inexplicable images tumbled over each other, and these images were interspersed with shamelessly melodramatic intertitles in a distinctive graphic design of red, white, and black. The trailer ended with a seductive close-up of Gael Garcia Bernal, aged just 20 at the time of shooting, haloed by cigarette smoke and looking directly into the camera. Instantly forgetting the original Spanish film I had planned to see, I went straight back to the lobby and bought another ticket for this new filmic phenomenon. I have to confess I was not over fond of the Latin American cinema that was distributed abroad at that time. On the one hand, there was the tradition of gritty social realism originating in Mexico with Buñuel's Los Olvidados, another rare winner at Cannes. Such films focused relentlessly on poverty and violence. They offered voyeuristic foreign viewers the flattering impression that they had become familiar with the dire problems of the Third World, all from the safety of their cinema seat. On the other was the Mexican auteur cinema associated with senior directors like the prolific Arturo Ripstein. Doggedly serious, it aspired to the status of the respected European cineasts, a status it could never quite reach. Yet, as if by magic, here in the millennium was Amores, Perros. It was a film by an unknown and untried novice with a little-known cast that ran for a challenging 153 minutes. And it shamelessly appealed to a mass audience, even as it also aspired to the upper reaches of film art. Even the film's graphic design was stylish and original. A critic friend who had attended Cannes, Jonathan Romney, passed me the film's distinctive press book. Oddly letterbox-shaped, it boasted an impressionistic collage of howling dogs, crashing cars, and emoting humans. This at a time when press releases for foreign films generally consisted of a few pages of grimy Xerox. The tripartite poster also hinted at the complex, compelling structure of the narrative to come. At first, it seemed possible that squeamish international audiences would not even get to see a film, any actors, in the film's spectacular car crash. Unknown to the movie world, it was Iñárritu's long experience in radio and advertising that had enabled him to craft a trailer and a film that would fascinate audiences around the world, audiences who had hitherto shown little or no interest in Mexican film. Iñárritu also commented himself that he had used his radio show to tell a story over the course of several hours every day. And the music in Amores, Perros would serve the same narrative purpose. Iñárritu's was a unique professional background in Mexican cinema, and one that initially aroused some suspicion. But it was only when I went back to Mexico City in 2002 that I came to realize just how exceptional this film was in a local context. I was warmly received by Marta Sosa, one of the film's two executive producers. Sosa stressed to me that the key word here was change, in Spanish cambio. In 2000, Mexicans would vote out a political regime that had lasted over 70 years, that of the corrupt PRI, or Institutional Revolutionary Party. And in the same year, Iñárritu and his team would embark on a new kind of Mexican cinema, a journey which, ironically enough, would soon take them far from their home country. Mexican cinema was in crisis. Only 8 feature films were made in 1998, a historical low. By 2018, the number would rise to an unprecedented 115. Amores, Perros' original script, still inscribed confidential and named definitive plus version. It is a complex and ever-changing jigsaw puzzle of interlocking stories by screenwriter Guillermo Arriaga, already a respected novelist, that is still, in this supposedly final version, different to the final cut. There are 3 main plot strands. A young, working-class boy Octavio, not trained at the official film schools like his older rivals, but learned on the sets of the many groundbreaking TV commercials he had helmed. Unsurprisingly then, Amores Perros was controversial. Ayala Blanco, Mexico's most prestigious film critic, wrote that the film was, quote, a success prefabricated by techno-marketing, a tripartite soap opera, end quote. This did not stop him putting a still from the film on the cover of one of his books. Foreign critics compared Amores Perros rather to another recent narrative in 3 parts, Pulp Fiction. However, Tarantino's playful irony could hardly be further from Iñárritu's intense solemnity. Audiences too were divided, although they skewed young, between 18 and 25. Amores Perros was a huge box office hit at home, the second highest domestic release ever.
La basura deja, Leonardo.
It's not surprising to learn that the actor lived for weeks in that squalid place with its team of dogs in preparation for his role. Although these locations are authentic, they're expertly dressed by production designer Brigitte Broch, a native German who Iñárritu said helped him to see Mexico City as if for the first time. Hunger, solitude, and shame, end quote. It's fair to say that French journalists and festivals had not hitherto looked kindly on Mexican films before Calle and Cannes had boosted Amores Perros. Sometimes bloody blade on the sidewalk. Or again, and more statically, late in the film, El Chivo leaves a lengthy telephone message for his estranged daughter.
Tu papá.
Iñárritu keeps the camera running for a near unbearable 2.5 minutes, paying the closest attention to a man's story of his lost life.
Sobre todo después de tantos años en que me morí para ti.
Iñárritu is a master of sound also. The sound design is by another Oscar nominee, Martin. Could know it at the time, Amores Perros announced the profile of Iñárritu's subsequent career. He would further explore the format of the multi-strand or network narrative on an ever broader canvas in 21 grams shot in Memphis, and Babel, which takes place around the world. And showing versatility and making a challenging change, he would then shift narrative modes in 3 films based on troubled individual protagonists, Beautiful, Birdman, and The Revenant. Iñárritu's global ambitions would finally win him Oscars for those last 2 films. And with his close friends, colleagues, and fellow Oscar winners, Alfonso Cuarón and Guillermo del Toro had helped uncredited with the editing of Amores Perros. He would create a nexus of transnational cinema, triangulating Latin America, Europe, and the United States. It was a collective cinematic achievement that no other physics. Beautiful and Birdman even ventured where Amores Perros dared not tread, into the supernatural, with a Barcelona cancer victim who can see the dead, and a washed-up Broadway actor who might, just possibly, be able to fly. The little-known team that had made Iñárritu's first film proved unstoppable after it. Gael Garcia Bernal, formerly a child telenovela star, now boasts more than 60 titles on IMDb. He is a reigning king of international indie film and prestige TV series. But it was